Hello, welcome to a rather abrupt Just My Thoughts here on Spark 1524. I'm Nathaniel Miller. I thought today was June 30th. It's actually July 1st. I had my days mixed up, and I thought July 1st was tomorrow. I'm hip deep in editing a 3+ hour long documentary on my days back in F-14 Tomcat, so my time sense is a little screwed. But I was waiting for July 1st to make this video because Pride Month is over, and that's why I wanted to do this video today. If you don't know, I'm gay. I'm a dude who likes dudes. Wish I was straight because at the very least, if I was attracted to women, my chance for finding a mate, a life partner, a wife, would be exponentially greater than as a middle-aged gay guy who's relatively conservative finding a husband. But genetically, I got what I got. There's a difference between LGB, TQIA+++, I don't give a damn. Lesbian, gays, and bisexuals, we are a genetic variation in the human species. And more evidence is coming out all the time that we are a genetic and epigenetic variation. Look up epigenes. Epigenetics is a very fascinating field about how our epigenes, in short, are the instructions for how our genes express themselves. We're part of this species whether we like it or not. The TQIA+++. Trans people do not deserve to be locked away or shunned or anything like that. But they also don't deserve to be celebrated as heroes for suffering a severe mental disorder. It's called gender dysphoria for a reason. If you need to live as a gender, a sex that you're not, especially to the point where you're taking meds, artificial hormones to change your body's outward appearance, and note I said outward appearance, and lopping off healthy body parts, that's a severe mental disorder. If that is the only way for a grown man or grown woman to live healthy, safely, and independently, that's between them and their doctor. You don't touch kids. There are trans activists who will say that, well, there are frogs which spontaneously change sex, male to female. There are eels which spontaneously change sex, male to female.
We carry the largest trans pride flag to ever be flown in a national park and unfurled it on the side of El Cap to prove a point that trans is natural. The Trump administration and transphobes would love to have you believe that being trans is unnatural, but species that can transition sexes can be found on every continent and in every ocean on planet Earth.
That's great. We're not frogs and we're not eels. It's not in our DNA. If a trans person, aside from surgery lopping stuff off, things that will never regenerate, stops taking all the hormones, their body reverts back to what it was designed to be because that's what it's got the DNA for. Forget chromosomes, we're talking DNA. There are animals in this world that fly. There are mammals that fly. It ain't us. We don't have feathers and flight muscles like a bird. We're not going to fly without an airplane. There are mammals that can fly. We don't have the genetics for the webbing between our fingers and our arms and our torso to fly like a bat because we're not bats. So the argument that other species change sex means we can is fallacious. It's a false premise because we're not that species. We have a whole different system of coding programming our bodies. It is perverse and cruel of our society to elevate a mental disorder to hero status because that is doing nothing to actually help that person face reality. If they're an adult and the only way for them to live healthy, stable, and safe is living as the other gender, that's between them and their doctor. Yes, they deserve respect, but you don't rewrite all of society for the minority. And before anybody throws in the intersex argument, well, yes, there are intersex people, but that is an incredible small genetic abnormality. And that's a whole different topic, but again, you don't rewrite society for them. The fact that the gay community has been so quiet, those of us who are normal, which frankly are the majority, is really bad. It's sad because we have allowed these activists, queer, trans, plus IAA, to take over our movement, which was nothing but human rights. I was at Key West in 2017 on my retirement vacation. I had a few months left in the Navy, so I went to Key West. Stayed at a beautiful resort called the Equator, which sadly closed when the owners decided to retire. I was sitting by the pool bar having a drink one night, and a couple of guys were talking, and obviously they're gay because it relates to this video. And they were asking me about what it was like to be gay in the military before and after, don't ask, don't tell, things like that. And then one of them, kind of out of the blue, said, "Man, Key West just isn't what it used to be." And I asked him, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "Well, it used to be really cool to be gay here. We were treated like kings." And somebody sniggered, "And queens, haha." I'm not kidding. And it was funny. It was a funny moment. And I said, "Okay," I said, "I only vacation here a couple times, so what do you mean?" He said, "It used to be cool to be gay here. Everybody paid attention to you. People talked to you. People treated you like you were something special." I said, "So what's it like now?" He goes, "Nobody pays attention to us. We're just here." And I looked at him and I said, "Wasn't that the point? Wasn't the point of the fight to secure basic human rights before secular law, mainly the right to marry, have those unions recognized for tax and inheritance and next of kin purposes, serve in the military openly, and otherwise be left alone to just live as a member of the human family? Wasn't the point of it, wasn't the point of the fight to get to where we are now, and then we can just go on with our lives?" He and the other couple of guys I was talking about went, "I never thought about that. You're right. We did win." I said, "Yeah, it's time to stop fighting and just live." Human rights movements start out really noble, but if you're not careful, they can devolve into anarchy as the more extreme elements want to keep the fight going and keep pushing to more extremes. Pride Month is over, and I'm damn glad it is, because Pride Month, for what it originally was successful many years ago. Yes, the world's not perfect. Oh my God, we're all going to be inhuman. And by the way, I never liked the word pride. I'm not proud of being gay. I'm proud of being an American citizen. I'm proud of being a responsible human being, two-time homeowner, Navy veteran, independently published novelist. I'm proud of those things I've done. I'm proud of being a human being because we can do some great things. But I'm not proud of being gay. Being gay is not something to be proud of to me. It's just part of my life. But okay, we can quibble that, fine. But Pride Month won the war long ago. Now it is nothing but a degenerate, bacchanalian, hedonistic orgy. I don't care about that. I'm very socially liberal. If a bunch of over 18 adults want to have a big public sex fetish party, I don't care. Go do it. You're over 18. Caveat: minors, anybody 17 and under, cannot be there because that's not appropriate. Drag queens twerking in front of kids and teaching kids to dance for money, that's sexual grooming. Pride Month is over, thank God. But us normal gays need to be speaking up a whole lot more and pushing back on these activists who screech inclusivity and diversity, but in practice fascism. Fascism or communism or any kind of totalitarianism demands conformity. You never notice how all these activists that are queer and trans and please know I said activists, they all look the same. All these great individualists look alike. The stereotype of the blue hair, the purple hair, the 1,000 piercings, the nose ring, being overweight or being excessively femme, being overly theatrical. It's become a uniform for a movement that claims to be about individuality. And yet, if you don't toe that line, you're ostracized for being, if you don't toe the line of what they say is individuality, you're ostracized for being an individual. Normal gays, we need to speak up more. We need to start pushing back. Pride Month won its war long ago. We just want to be left alone, and these activists need to be pushed back into the fringes of society where they came from because they do not speak for all of us. And their vision of a cultural Marxist fascistic utopia has been tried many times before. Look at the Soviet Union, look at communist China, look at Venezuela, look at Cuba, and that's just in this century and the 20th century. Go back throughout human history. Totalitarianism is the norm for our species. Constitutional republics like the magnificent United States of America, we're the exception. Independence Day is coming up. I hope you have a very great 4th of July. Share this video if you want. And if you're a normal gay, please speak up. It doesn't have to be some big public platform like this, but have the courage to continue the fight for gay rights. The fight now is not that we need our rights before human law. We won that fight. The fight now is to keep these fringe activists from destroying all that we have gained by scaring the living hell out of society so bad, all of us get shoved back in the closet. And if we don't stand up against the fringes in our own quote unquote community, and I'm sorry, but the trans, queer, IA, plus, they're not part of the LGB, but they claim it. People identify them with us. And if we don't stand up and push them back into the fringes, we're guilty by association. And the only thing evil needs to succeed is the good people to do nothing. Happy upcoming 4th of July. I will see y'all soon. Peace out. And until then, go do some great things.